Hi everyone, this is Rachel Kleinman from rwcrafts.com. Today I'll be sharing with you a couple of lilac spring cards that I created using this die here. So this one's already created, and I did things a little differently than maybe what I was quote unquote supposed to do. So that's what I'm sharing today. Here's all of my dies laid out, ready to be cut. So this is how the die would look if I was to line it up to the matching like spots. And you see in the background it's all flat, and I didn't like that because flowers aren't just flat in the background. So I'm actually going to show you how to add some texture just by manipulating the die a little bit. So on this like base layer of the flower here, I cut that out of peony cardstock, and I am just ink blending the bottom and the edges. I'm ink blending it with cotton candy ink. This is from Hero Arts as well. Just to add a little bit of shading. This is totally optional. Doesn't need to happen. And now on the second layer, that is cut from Bellini cardstock. And instead of laying it right on top of the indentations where it wants you to put it, I'm actually lining it up and then just moving the entire thing up like millimeters. So if you just move it up by a fraction of millimeters or a couple of millimeters, then you will see all of the texture in the background. And that's what I really wanted. So there is a third layer component to this flower, and those little flower petals I cut from chiffon cardstock. And again, instead of placing them directly on top of the previous petals behind it from the second layer, I'm just going to kind of randomly sprinkle them throughout. So there's not much rhyme or reason to this part. I am putting the bigger petals on the bottom and the smaller ones on top. So there will be more texture in there. It won't just be like a blank surface in the background. This die set, so the die set's called Layered Lilac die. It does also include the beautiful leaves that come with it here. So I cut the base of the leaves from Rainforest cardstock. And again, I'm just adding a little bit of ink blending. This is with Moss ink from Hero Arts. And again, just helps with the shading and totally optional. You can skip it if you want to. The dies also include like the veins of the leaf, which is just such a great detail to have. So I cut those from fern cardstock. And you can see the indentations already on the die. I love that when it gets cut, it also adds these guidelines here. For the flowers, I chose to ignore the guidelines, but for the leaves, I will stick to it. And it almost just falls right in place. So that makes it really, really easy. My reverse grip tweezers are so helpful for small projects like this too. So always recommend having those. You can also use them to hold the pieces together, like if the glue is drying. So that's nice as well. So I'm getting all the leaves done and my lilacs. I keep wanting to call them also hydrangeas. And then at one point I got hydrangea out of my brain and I started calling them peonies, but supposedly they're lilacs, and I'll just have to trust everybody else on that. I'm not a flower expert. I grew up in the desert. Um, I've probably shared before, but I didn't even know what a daffodil was until I moved to Connecticut when I was like 21 because they don't exist in Phoenix, Arizona. Why would I know what that is? Anyways, so I glued the stem to the back of the flower, and now I'm just arranging the leaves. The leaves could go behind. They might actually be intended to go behind the flower. I'm not so sure, but I really loved having the pop of the green in the front. I thought that looked really nice. And you could probably layer some behind and some in front too. That would look pretty as well. So you can see that like hidden texture in the background. It made all the difference. It really made it look so, so different. Now I'm using this layering stencil. It's called Meadow Blooms Layer Stencil. And I'm actually going to just be using the first two layers for the background. I don't necessarily feel like I need the whole stencil done. I don't want to take away from the detail of the beautiful die that we just finished, but I just wanted something in the background. So with the layer one, I did ink that up with mist ink. And now I'm lining up layer 2 and I'm using dusty blue ink. And when I removed this, I realized, oh, not all of those flowers have a center. So I lied before. We're using a little bit of the third layering stencil. And you can see I got my little mini blending brush here, and I'm just doing the centers of the flowers that were missed. So I'm not doing the whole stencil by any means. So I'll just ink up a few of the flower centers. You saw there, maybe it was like 8 of them. And that'll be it for the stencil. And just to add some little accent, I did die cut the panel from my favorite. This is the postage infinity die from Hero Arts. Just wanted to add something. And I still needed to add more. That wasn't enough. So I love this brand new cling stamp. It's called Birdsong Script. And I'm not feeling too peculiar about how perfect this gets stamped. So I'm not pulling out my Misty for this one. I'm just, you see, rubbing the ink right on top. And I'm going to do the good old little flip method here. And because if it's not great, that's okay. It's just add texture to the background. So I have my stamp lined up and inked, and then I'm flipping my panel on top and just rub a dab and hope that it gets covered, hope that I inked it up enough. If I didn't, that's okay. I know, at least for this one, yeah, that bottom corner there, I totally missed it. I don't think I even put ink on the stamp there, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's just to add some little texture and detail to the background. This is another new set. So this is called Everyday Sentiment Strips 2. So something like this is amazing to have in your collection because it really can be used for a variety of things. You saw all the different sentiments that are on there, whether it's sympathy or birthday or yay. I think there's one that just says yay. So that's great. I already had some of these cut, so I'm just grabbing some of the pre-cut ones. I think this one, yeah, it says hello sunshine, and I'm just going to glue it right on top. There is also, I believe, a matching die that goes with that sentiment strip, but I don't have it, but so I just cut them out. And on the back of my favorite postage die set is my second favorite infinity die. It's the wood grain frames. I love the texture that these add, and it's a great way, as you see, to just add a little pop of color. I didn't want that light purple color to be on the whole background, but I love just the pop of the frame. I think that looks really great. And I'm doing the same method with that cling stamp. Got it perfect that time. No missed spots the second time around. And if you are more peculiar, maybe you're just nervous about your upside down stamping abilities, then by all means, pull your Misty out and do it. So I just put some glue around the edges here, and I'm putting the frame right on top. And for this flower, I did want to pop it up on foam. So I'm adding my foam tape there. And I do add glue to my foam, as you know. So I put some glue on all of those foam strips and then glue on the stem. I'm not going to try and pop up the stem. It's not worth my time. And then with the sentiment, since I did use foam tape on the flower, I had to add foam tape just to the edges of this sentiment strip, the part that's hanging off of the flower you see there. So I did double up the foam tape on the sentiment so that it would be the same like level as the flower. There we go. Have a lovely day. And there they are. I did put those on card bases, as you're going to see, and I also added some Hero Hues enamel dots in the coordinating colors just to add a little extra flair. So thank you so much for stopping by. I'll list the supplies in the description below. Thank you. Bye.